Hello student, today I am taking Social Science, Civics Chapter 10, Law and Social Justice. My dear student, here we will take now when we are buying any products from the market or when the peoples are working, so whether they will get all the facilities and all the laws are followed or not. So all these details we will study here in this. So you see a place where you are buying and selling and services which are take place is known as market. So you know the market everywhere, it tend to be explosive of people, whether the peoples are workers, whether the peoples are consumer or whether the peoples are producer. Workers means वो काम कर रहे हैं, consumer means हम कुछ purchase कर रहे हैं and producer जो निर्माण कर रहे हैं. So see, therefore the governments, they have to make certain laws to protect the peoples from such exploitation. Everywhere if the person is working but he is not getting the wages properly, consumer, they are buying the product from the market but it is not a pure quality, and the producers, how they are producing all this, so there should be a law and that will be strictly follow it. So these laws try to check the unfair practices in the market. Laws that prevent exploitation. Which type of law that is? So see, some private companies, contractors, business persons, etc. are normally want to make much profit. So they can, in the drive for profit, they might deny the workers their rights and not pay them wages. But this isn't illegal. No, some laws were made to prevent exploitation. For example, we can see the law for worker wages, consumers protection and environment protection, etc. What law for worker? What is written on this? What are the rules they have to be followed? See, workers were denied for fair wages by the employers. So in order to ensure that the workers are paid fairly, there is a law on minimum wages. The minimum wages were revised and upgrade every few years it will be upgraded. Now, the government has passed many laws which give guarantee that the workers are not exploited by their employer. Now you see what type of laws for producers and the consumer. An individual who buys goods for personal use and not for resale, that is known as consumer. And for the producer, a person or an organization which produce goods for sale in the market, they are known as producer. So the government is also keen to protect the interest of producer and consumer in the market. There are also laws made for them. These laws help them to ensure that the relation between the three parties, the workers, consumers and producers, are governed in manner that is not exploitative. Now you see. What are how the implementations of the laws? See, making laws not enough. Now, government has to ensure that these laws are implemented or not. That should be very important. So you see, implementation of the laws become even more important when the law seeks to protect the weak from the strong. Then it will be run properly. You see, for example, in order to make sure that every worker gets their fair wages, the government has to regularly inspect work strikes and punish those peoples who violate these laws. Now, when the workers are poor or mostly they are powerless, so there is a too much fear of losing future earnings or they face reprisal, often forces them to accept low wages. That is the main reason here the government have to follow the strict rules. Next, you see, what are the laws made by the Indian Constitution? Do you know? Some of the laws are based on our fundamental rights, which is guaranteed by our Indian Constitution. So you see the right against exploitation. It says that no one can be forced to work for low wages or under bondage. Now, similarly, the Child Labor Prevention Act, it says that no child below the age of 14 years shall be employed to work in a factory, any factory or mines, or engage any other hazardous employment. If they will find, they will punish. Now, workers' worth. What does it mean? Means wages that the companies pay to workers in developed countries. You just see, we can see the example. For example, USA are far higher than that they have to pay to workers in poorer countries like India. Do you know? For lower pay, companies can get longer hours to work. Additional expenses such as for housing facilities for workers are also feared. Now, foreign companies like Union Carbide, UC, it came to India. Why it came to India? Because they will get easily the cheap labor. Cost cuttings are also be done now by other more dangerous means. So, lower working conditions including these lower safety measures that are used a ways of cutting costs. We will see the example of Union Carbide here. Union Carbide, it is an American company. Do you know that had set up a factory in city of Bhopal where it produced pesticides. Do you know at midnight 2nd December 1984 a chemical gas, methyl isocyanate gas, MIC, a highly poisonous gas, it started leaking from its plant. So within 3 days, more than 8,000 people were dead and hundreds of thousands were means to injured seriously, especially permanently. Now, so you have seen the disaster was not an accident. It is the carelessness of the company. The company had deliberately ignored all the essential safety measures in order to cut costs, and that is the main reason. Other way through which Union Carbide cut costs other than wages were in the Union Carbide Bhopal plants. Every safety devices was either malfunctioning or in short supply. Second one, between 1980 and 1984, the work crew for these methyl isocyanate plant was cut to half, from 12 to 6 workers. Now, next, you see the period of safety training for the workers was brought down for 6 months to only 15 days, and the post of night shift workers for the MIC plants was abolished. So, how enforcement of safety laws will be followed? See, as the maker and enforcer of laws, the government is supposed to ensure that safety laws were implemented. It is the duty of the government to ensure the rights to life guaranteed under the Article 21 of the Constitution is not violated. Do you know the government did not do its duty when were blatant violation of safety standards in the Union Carbide UC plant at Bhopal. Though some facts we can see that how the Bhopal gas tragedy occurred. So you see some safety laws were lax. Lax means not paying enough attention about the rules. So in India, these weak safety laws were not enforced. Do you know the government officials, they refused to acknowledge that the plant was hazardous condition, that is full of dangers, and allow it to come up in these populated locality. Do you know some of the municipal officials, they raised objection during that time to installation of an MIC production unit in 1978. Why? Because of safety violation. The government allowed the factory to start production as it was providing job for the local people. So do you know the government did not ask UC to shift to cleaner technology or safe procedure, and the government inspector continued to approve the procedure in the plant despite repeated incidents leaks from the plant. So the above factor, what it disclosed, that the government was completely contrary on its role of law making and enforcement agency. You know, instead of the protecting the interest of its peoples, the safety was being ignored, and by the government as well as private company. Mostly we can see these cases in our India. because of the negligence. You know, there is no desirable, especially when more and more industries are being set up by the local and foreign business in India. There is a great need for stronger laws for protecting the workers' rights and better enforcement of these laws. Now, so what type of new laws are made in the new laws to protect the environment there are very few laws protecting the environment in India in 1984, and you know, there was hardly any enforcement of these laws. The environment was regarded as a free entry, and any industries could pollute the air, water without any restriction. So, in Bhopal crash tragedy, several thousands of the persons were not directly related to the factory in any way, were greatly affected by the poisonous gas leaked from the plants. Then, existing law only covered the individual worker and not persons who might to be injured due to industrial accidents. Realizing the drawbacks, that Indian government introduced some new laws on the environment. So what type of the laws? So new laws which is imposed by the government after this incident. So you see, the polluter was to be held accountable for any damage done to the environment. Second one, right to life is a fundamental rights under Article 21 of the Constitution, and it also includes the right to enjoyment of pollution free water, air, or for full enjoyment of life. Now, the government is responsible for setting up all the laws and procedure that can check pollutions, whether river is clean, and introduce heavy fines those who pollute this. So what we concluded on this topic, that laws are necessary in many situations. Private companies, contractors, business persons resorts to unfair practices like paying low wages, employing children for work, ignoring work conditions and the environment in order to make high profits. So it is the duty of the government to pass laws and enforce them strictly to protect the citizens from being exploited, and it is also the duty of the common people to support the government. No. As the Bhopal gas tragedy, it shows that the laws are very weak and poorly enforced can cause serious harms. So while the government has a leading role in this respect, and people can exert pressures too, and so both the private companies and the government acts in the interest of the society. So in this way, all the peoples, either the workers, producers, consumers, will be safe. They will get all the rights, and our environment will be pollution free. Thank you.